What if I told you Mario is actually faking his stupidity? Now that actually sounds quite partial. I mean, come on, Mario's character as a whole is riding on the fact of his idiocy, and on first glance, saying that Mario isn't actually stupid is against the series lore. You may be right, but there are scenes like this that just seem incongruous.
E tutte le culture catturate non si imparagete. E pokon si sta cultura poter con una foto che sarà grato.
When I first saw the scene, I thought to myself that something isn't adding up here, and I was correct. So I grabbed Jako, who you may know from the SMG4 Iceberg, and together we took a look at the SMG4 series to find the true answers to Mario's intelligence.
Thanks for having me on to help. Big things are coming for the SMG4 lore, so keep an eye out for new content from me in the near future.
Thanks, Jako. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out Jako's amazing iceberg. Now, enjoy the video.
This theory in summary states that Mario was originally stupid in the series, but later on, eventually lost his stupidity and is now actually faking it. But before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this theory, we need to review a little bit of background information on SMG4's origins, as said episode, at first glance, may appear completely counter to Mario faking his stupidity, but in reality, brings it all together.
To quickly recap, SMG4's Guardian Pod landed in the Mushroom Kingdom and made everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom stupid. This included Mario, as he was the first one shocked with a beam, causing him to become his idiotic self we all know and love today. It wasn't until SMG4 showed up that Mario was able to turn down his stupidity by just a tad. Then SMG4 asked Mario to be in videos with him, and the two of them start making content together, recording everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom in order to reverse their stupidity that was caused by the Guardian Pod.
Now, how could this episode not counteract this entire theory? I mean, we saw Mario become stupefied by SMG4's Guardian Pod when it landed so long ago, so there should be no way he could be faking it if we saw him getting hit with the beam in the first place, right? However, we'd argue there's much more to it.
Alright, first of all, let's establish how SMG4 making content affects the populace of the Mushroom Kingdom. First of all, everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom was turned extremely dumb due to the Guardian Pod, and anytime SMG4 makes a video on those civilians, they start feeling a little less dumb than before. It's important to note here that whenever SMG4 makes content on them, they don't return to their usual intelligent self. They just become less dumb than before.
But what if this effect stacks over time? For example, let's say Wario, for instance, was made extremely dumb by the Guardian Pod and would gain back some IQ after being recorded by SMG4 on video. If Wario were to be recorded multiple times for SMG4's videos, would he gain back even more IQ every time he's recorded? Let's explore this concept with another example, that being
the Medic was the first character that SMG4 gave IQ back to after he recorded a video of him and uploaded it to YouTube. In the scenes prior, he acts extremely dumb in an almost YouTube poop fashion, and even after SMG4 gave him some IQ back by being in a video, he's still a little bit shaky afterwards, almost like he was still sort of dumb, but not as dumb as before. Fast forward a couple episodes later, and the Medic makes an appearance again, but now he's a dentist? And not only that, in Mario University, he was also a doctor. Now keep in mind, these episodes are meant to take place years after the SMG4 Origins episode flashbacks, and I'm not a doctor or dentist, but I'm pretty sure to get these occupations, you have to be smart. This implies something greater. In the SMG4 Origins episode, the Medic was simply a store clerk who was presumably in charge of the cash register. Now years later, he's a doctor and a dentist? If you look at any time the Medic appears as well, he doesn't have those shaky effects applied to him anymore. So perhaps the Medic has appeared in so many videos at this point that his IQ not only returned to him, but he was able to pursue a higher level of intelligence after he regained his initial intelligence back.
If we take a look back at Mario with this new perspective, the pieces start coming together. Mario has by far appeared in more SMG4 videos than any other character in the entire series. So naturally, if SMG4 making videos of stupefied characters can turn someone like the Medic from simple cashier to a full-fledged doctor over time, that would mean that Mario could be secretly much smarter than he seems. But is there any proof that Mario has regained his intelligence over the years? We'll show a variety of examples from across the SMG4 series that potentially showcase glimpses into Mario's hidden intelligence. By no means are these the only examples, just the more prominent ones. So brace yourself.
And if Mario was in Squid Game, he spat out his honeycomb piece that he was choking on earlier in the video to distract Meggy, thus allowing him to win.
What?
And Mario gets stuck on an island, he stacks up a bunch of sticks on the island to get the plane's attention.
Use some help over here!
In If Mario Was in Portal, he successfully beats GLaDOS by shoving a toad core into her body, causing her to corrupt and explode.
Warning. Core corruption at 100%.
In the Minecraft Plague, when they realize that the tool gun recipe requires a human soul, he goes off and finds a villager to sacrifice for the human soul instead of using Luigi, so the recipe can be completed.
Okay.
Hello there, traveler. Come to the night.
And if Mario was in Among Us, he was able to successfully determine the imposter after the imposter slips up by saying that Mario and Green were in the room with the vent open. Mario was able to catch this context clue just a few seconds after it was revealed.
He was standing in front of the body. He was also the one in the room when the vent was open. I'm sorry, Mario, but he's the imposter.
Wait a minute.
Oh, mamma mia, tutto gravato.
In the Mario channel, Mario's Challenge, he was able to successfully set up an entire labyrinth of challenges that the contestants had to persevere through to win the prize. In Freddy's Spaghetteria, Security Breach, Mario accidentally knocks over a bunch of cans and the sun runs towards him to clean them up. This causes Mario to realize that if he knocks over a lot of cans, then the sun will be infinitely distracted.
Where's the bottom? Where is the top?
Ooh.
In the Splatfest incident, when Mario and SMG4 are battling, he pulls out a meme to make SMG4 laugh to let his guard down so he could attack him.
Oh yeah.
The rap battles prominently featured in the annual War to Fat Italians episodes show Mario using a much larger vocabulary than he normally does, to make his lyrics more fluent and to flex superiority over his opponents.
Your decision for rejection must be a word complexion. The only part you have is making guys lose erection. Your half-baked rhymes are clearly evident because you're based on a meme to irrelevant. Your ass getting wrecked in a state of permanence. Looks like you're gonna have to end your turbulence.
In Mario's illegal operation, he has the idea of distracting the guards by dressing up as anime, so Boopkins can get past the Anime Secret Service checkpoint to smuggle anime into the Mushroom Kingdom.
What the f is that? Konnichiwa, you magnificent bastard! I'm getting out of here!
In the Mario Hustle, when his rocks aren't selling, he sends Frankie up to the roof to sing horribly so Mario can then sell rocks to throw at him.
I got it. Yahoo! Oh, say, can you sing? I don't think you can do that.
Let's do this! Mario style!
In Mario's Mask of Madness, he comes up with the idea to have Melanie call an Uber Spaghetti so he can put a big SMG4 mask on it to distract Meggy, which allows him to get the Mario mask off of her.
Yo man, what's up?
What? Hey, Stinky!
In SMG4 Goes Insane, Mario talks to the innermost spirit of SMG4, which instructs Mario to find whatever anomaly is causing SMG4 to go insane before it's too late, and Mario fully understands the request and goes through with it.
And if Mario was in Deltarune, he successfully tricks Jevil into spawning a bunch of guns so him, Rouse, and Susie can beat them.
Wait a minute, did you say anything? Anything! Anything! Yes, anything!
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Oh, hell no.
Son of a...
And if Mario moves, he dies. He uses his nose in very creative ways to get out of difficult situations. He uses a diamond to reflect sunlight to get a plane's attention, and when he falls underwater, he extends his nose above the surface so he can breathe. And not only that, in this episode, he gets the idea to acquire the wing cap on the floating island in Bob-omb Battlefield to fly to the hospital, using his nose in creative ways to navigate the battlefield and reach the ring cap.
In Christmas 2019, Mario Alone, when Mario realizes that Wario and Waluigi are going to invade the castle, he instantly runs off and sets up a bunch of clever traps to prevent them from robbing the place.
In Meggy's Destiny, he was able to accurately determine that the Ink Brigade cheated after noticing something was off about their large kill near the end of the game, revealing a well-hidden illegal Squidward track and getting them disqualified.
In the Revelations movie, Mario successfully stands up to Niles because he knows how dangerous of a threat Niles is while in possession of Melanie. He also realizes the true dangers of anti-meme manipulation and attempts to stop SMG3 and SMG4 from harnessing it after seeing its unstable and antagonistic effects on them.
In a totally normal SMG4 episode, Mario is tasked with stealing SMG4's phone back from SMG3. He actually manages to do this successfully in complete secrecy. Also in this video, he takes a picture of himself and attaches it to a fishing pole, placing it in front of Susan Windows 7's kid in order to trick them into going into the direction he desires. The biggest piece of evidence is in the Super Mario Stupid Show, where Mario successfully points out in great detail that SMG4 has no signs of human interaction and crippling social anxiety. Then afterwards, he immediately says Pingus, which implies that he wasn't meant to say that, and so he quickly tried covering it up. So with all this potential evidence, the hard part now becomes figuring out why Mario fakes his stupidity in the first place. Well, perhaps Mario fakes it because he's insecure about his dependence on stupidity as his defining trait.
After Mario regained his IQ by being recorded by SMG4, since he was zapped by the Guardian Pod all those years ago, an important realization eventually occurred to him. His stupidity had become his identity. It was thanks to Mario and his idiotic hijinks that he, SMG4, and the gang lived constant lives of misadventure. So if he stopped being dumb, then their lives wouldn't nearly be as interesting anymore, and his friends would have no reason to stick around. After all, his companions each had unique traits that brought them friends and fame. So what would they make of him if the trait that his friendships and life's excitement were built around, his core identity, disappeared? Would they still stick around even if he wasn't dumb?
This caused Mario to try to mimic the stupidity he originally had to keep up his idiotic identity, using his stupidity as a facade so his friends could still continue loving him, even though he secretly isn't stupid anymore. His fear of abandonment by his friends drives this behavior. With him faking his stupidity for so long, he doesn't even know how to act if he let down this facade and revealed that he was actually smart. After all, by his own admission,
Mario isn't very good at expressing himself. In fact, Mario isn't very good at anything. Thanks to this facade, Mario believes that since his identity as an idiot is what makes him worth being around, his friends would leave him if they saw that he had no true identity of his own or ability to truly express himself. So he keeps up the charade to avoid the fact that he doesn't know how to properly act otherwise.
Everyone is so used to Mario being stupid that if they find out he isn't and see him who he really is, or in Mario's mind who he isn't, they'll judge him and no longer want to be his friend. So he ends up in an infinite loop where every day he fakes being stupid, causing hijinks and ending up in dumb situations so he can still have friends.
In fact, his fears are proven true in the aptly named episode If Mario Was Smart, where Professor Egad creates an invention that reverses brain patterns, making anyone who is dumb become just as oppositely smart. Obviously, the first person to be tested on was Mario, who in this episode started acting extremely intelligent. However, as a result, all of his friends began to hate him due to his insufferable behavior seemingly caused by it.
But wait, if Mario is now smart to begin with, how could Egad's invention even work in the first place? If the invention reverses brain patterns, wouldn't his invention make Mario more dumb? Well, what if Egad's machine didn't work? What if the smart Mario in this episode is a true show of Mario's actual IQ, and he's just pretending that Egad's machine works so he can try being his true self around his friends without being judged? In this episode, he's incredibly smart, but at the same time heavily lacks social skills, still retaining his impulsive and brash behavior at the slightest inconvenience despite the supposed intelligence spike, revealing Mario's inability to express himself properly despite his intellect. In fact, by Mario's own admission, he feels that nobody can relate to him, and in the climax all of his friends hate this new smart Mario for the way he expresses himself like a jackass. But if Egad's machine never worked, how come it worked on Bob? Does this mean that Bob also fakes his stupidity? This may be surprising to hear, but yes.
Upon Bob's first introduction to the series and the episodes that follow, his personality was quite different from what it is today. In Bob's earliest features, he had an extreme desire to become popular, because for so much of his life, he was extremely lonely, and thus would do anything to achieve it, such as when he begs SMG4 over and over again to be in his videos, to the point where he constantly follows him around so he could have every chance possible to be in a video. However, at one point, Bob inexplicably stopped this begging. Coincidentally, his appearances in the series ramp up to the point he has an entire arc centered around him and is a mainstay of the cast.
So, what changed? Well, Bob realized the one key element that is required to be in an SMG4 video, and that is to be stupid. Bob is no stranger to copying others to get what he wants. In said Modnar Deluxe, for example, when Bob realizes that Mario speaking in his Italian voice gets him in a video, Bob robs Mario of his clothes and copies his behavior in an attempt to make SMG4 put him into one of his videos. This is one of the first instances of Bob copying someone to get himself in. He continued copying the other cast members to see what ticked, until he realized that if he pretended to be stupid just like the star of the show Mario, SMG4 would be more inclined to put him into a video, and it worked.
So in summary, EGAD's machine never worked to begin with. This is just how Mario's, and by implication Bob's, normal personalities actually are. Secretly intelligent, but without the social skills and sense of identity to properly express themselves, they hide their intelligence to appear more appealing to others, with episodes such as Smart Mario being rare showcases into the nature of their true selves.
It's kinda sad, actually. And phew, that one took a long time. Shout out to Jako for assistance in speaking in this video, and thank you all for watching too. Check out my Meme Energy Explained video and the SMG4 Iceberg.
Peace out.